All right, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and I'm finally back with a new video after about a month hiatus that I apparently needed. But we're back with a vengeance as we're doing the September and October 2023 pickups. There's a lot of stuff here, specifically Omnibus. There's 9 Omnibus, and I haven't done an overview for any of them. So that's on the docket for the month of November. And I actually have a few unboxings to do and some reviews of books that I want to be doing in the next little bit. But let's dive into this first, starting with the video games to kind of get them out of the way. So here we have Harvest Moon, The Winds of Anthos, which is the latest Harvest Moon game from Natsume that since they've taken over actually making the games, because Marvelous was the ones that made them before, this is the only Harvest Moon title that has interested me. And it goes for a lot of other people, because the other games that Natsume has made under the Harvest Moon name, when they started making them, have been atrocious. They look like basic, mobile games, whereas this actually looks more in tune with what Harvest Moon should be. So I'm excited to try it. I just haven't had a chance to test it out yet myself. Another big Switch game that came out, I haven't had a chance to play this either yet. That is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'm hoping to play this either this weekend or next weekend with some friends, trying out the online multiplayer because we can finally play. I don't know how good the servers are though, so I'm kind of worried about that because this is Nintendo after all. But I'm hoping that they're good, and if they are, I think we're gonna have a blast with this. This just looks like a lot of fun. And probably the biggest fall game for 2023, and that is, and if you heard that, the disc is loose, which makes me a little bit nervous, so I should do an unboxing of this soon, but it's kind of safe on the shelf. And that is Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac. I cannot wait for this. The only problem is that I haven't beaten Miles Morales yet. I know it's an extremely short game, it's like 7 hours or something. I played 2 hours, I was liking it, and I just got sidetracked with other things, probably Apex at the time. It was last year that I was playing it. But anyway, gonna beat Miles Morales first, then dive into this, as I absolutely loved Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. Love that game. Wouldn't mind even going back to it on the PlayStation 5, but because that I'm gonna be playing Miles Morales and then Spider-Man 2 afterwards, I probably won't be doing a replay of Spider-Man 1 for a while. I'm hoping to get to Spider-Man 2 by the end of the month. That's the goal, to at least start it. Now let's go into the books, just because we only have 3 here before we get into the omnibus. Starting off with The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. And this is a novella. It's under 100 pages, so it's going to go by really fast. You could probably read this in one sitting if I really devoted myself to, an hour and a half of reading or so. And I don't remember the story at all, but I will be I'll be reading this at the beginning of December, maybe middle of December, something like that, to kind of get me into the Christmas mood. I have no idea. It's about murder. Engagingly original, Swanson has a bent for bent for revenge and murder. I didn't know that it was a murder story, but Peter Swanson is what got me curious, and I just thought he was doing a Christmas. All right, so it's all right. I'm actually really looking forward to that. A murder mystery novella set at wintertime with a Christmas guest. I'm going to be down for that. One book though I can talk specifically about, because I've started reading it. I'm almost halfway now. That is Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. This came out in September, and this is very much my cup of tea. So essentially, the main character broke up with her husband, who was very rich, and she didn't want any money. She didn't want alimony or anything, but he did leave her a cottage that she really loved. She can't really afford it, so what she does is she rents it out like an Airbnb. And there's guests that show up there and say that there's blood in one of the closets, and they're freaking out, so she has to go and check it out. But it's on an island, obviously, Hemlock Island, and she kind of goes there with, like, her ex-husband shows up as well, her niece is with her, and then a few other people as well that are kind of tied to them, that all end up deciding to go on the boat and to travel over to kind of see what's going on the island, what the heck is going on with that room. And some interesting things start happening. I'm very much enjoying this. I have no idea where this is going, but I'm digging it quite a bit. I love the tone of these books at the beginning. It's always where they end up at the end. If they can nail the ending, awesome. The beginnings are always very good, and the middle so far, because I'm starting to get into it, is good as well. And the last novel that I picked up is the latest Stephen King novel, which is Holly. I haven't read this yet. What I'm trying to do really is I want to read everything in chronological order with Stephen King. I read Carrie last year at the very end of the year. I just finished Salem's Lot at right before I finished it on Halloween Day. I started it on the weekend, so it took me 4 days to read. Really enjoyed that book. It was perfect for Halloween. And now I definitely want to start getting into a little bit more with Stephen King. I just started Billy Summers, and I just said I want to go in chronological order of how he released them. But my friend wants to read that at the moment, so I'm definitely down for reading Stephen King at the same time as him. So that's why I'm kind of deviating from that. And January is where I'm going to start going back to the chronological order of his books. So I've read Carrie, Salem's Lot. I will have read Billy Summers as well, which is a 2021 novel, I think. And next one in January that I'm going to read is The Shining. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And then it's Rage, and I think The Stand after that. Cannot wait for The Stand. And I'm definitely thinking of picking up the director's cut, which is the much thicker book. I think it's like 1,100 pages instead of 700. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. All right. Now let's get into the 9 omnibus that I want to do overviews for. So I could have content for quite a while here on the channel. Excuse me, all of a sudden I'm burping. Because I'm so nervous. I don't know why I'm burping. Why are we talking about this? Let's get on with the omnibus. I'm going to do some overviews for at least some of these. I don't know if I'm going to do an overview for all of them. We'll see. It's entirely possible that that happens. First one here is Maestro by Peter David. This is something that just, I look at the back and it makes me so happy. I don't even know that much about Maestro, and I definitely need to start reading some Peter David because I haven't. I have like all the volumes that he has of The Incredible Hulk now. Now I have this too. I definitely have to start getting into reading some of his books. But I'm going to be reading this month, actually. I'm starting to read Incredible Hulk Volume 1 from the Silver Age because Volume 2 is coming out, and I want to read both of those. And then I don't know, I kind of want to wait before I get into the Peter David stuff to kind of see if they do release more omnibus. But I feel like we're so far away from them getting caught up to the Peter David run that after Volume 2 of the Silver Age, I might just dive into the Peter David stuff. But it's going to be like so hard to go back to that, like Volume 3 of Incredible Hulk, for example, from the Silver Age, like after reading Peter David's run. We'll see. Another one that this is where it starts to get into my era. It's right at the end here is kind of where I was starting to read comics, and that is the Wolverine Volume 4. I'm more excited probably for about Volume 5 because that's going to be 100% where I was reading it with my brother. He and I would both end up, like, I would pick up an issue and then he would pick up an issue here and there. Because we would always just alternate whatever comic would, like, we would go to the comic book store and kind of see what was there, and we didn't go like specifically on the weeks that things would come out. We would just see whatever was on the rack at the time, and just whatever seemed interesting to us, we would pick up. And sometimes I would pick up Spiderman, he would pick up Wolverine, I would pick up Wolverine, he would pick up. He didn't really pick up Spiderman too much. He picked up a lot of Wolverine. The Thing, I remember him picking that up. I was Batman, Spider-Man, those are the main two. Hulk, if it was there. Wolverine, some X-Men. Spawn, a lot of Spawn. I'd say those are the main ones. He also he started with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I liked it so much that I ended up getting, I feel like I have the 15 issues, the last, like, Sonic the Hedgehog 35 to 50, because I loved it. I was just very, the end game of Sonic the Hedgehog at the time, whenever that came out, I mean, that's like 25 years ago, I feel. I was really liking it as a teenager. Was I a teenager 25 years ago? No, I wasn't. Almost, but not. Okay, which one? I don't even remember which one is first here. I think it's this one. I've got the two Captain America Brubaker omnibus here. Captain America Lives, and I think that's the next one. And then after that, we've got the Trial of Captain America. So, looking forward to checking those out. That's something that I think that for Captain America, and specifically this run, if anybody could recommend me, but what I would like to do is read the Volume 1 of the Silver Age Captain America. I started reading the Bronze Age, and I couldn't do it. It was too hard. So I want to start with maybe the Silver Age Volume 1, and then potentially dive into that. Or is there anything else that I should read before I read the Brubaker run? That's the only thing that I'm kind of iffy on, because I don't want to, there's certain characters that I want to read their entire runs. Other ones I want to read just the main ones. That's another one too. Invincible Iron Man Volume 1. I picked this up and it's more so because I just want to get a feel for what the character is like from the beginning, and then I would like to dive into some of his bigger runs afterwards. So that's the plan there. Let's do these two, which is Avengers Volume 4, the reprint, and then we have the new Volume 5 of the Avengers. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I really don't want to dive into Avengers until I've kind of read a little bit more of Incredible Hulk, at least Volume 1, Thor Volume 1, and Iron Man Volume 1, and Captain America Volume 1. Then I can start reading the Avengers, because I'm really weird. It's an OCD thing, I know, but I'm trying to get better with it, and I just got to sit down and actually read some of these stuff. Now that I have, now I'm starting to get a lot of the volumes that I want to read. And this one, which is top 3 omnibus of the year, along with the Green Lantern Corps. And what else would have been? Probably some Hulk. I don't know. Batman, the animated adventures in omnibus format. Like, this, I will say that we've definitely had a lot of, we've been really spoiled with Batman, in the sense that we've had a lot of good Batman on TV. In terms of movies, like the Dark Knight trilogy, absolutely excellent. Not exactly fully comic book, because it was more based in the real world, but I loved those movies, especially Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns. Batman Begins is still really good, but the other two I feel are masterpieces. Batman 89, Batman Returns, excellent. Michael Keaton, him in The Flash was by far the best part of that movie. And it's just unfortunate that it didn't do as well, because I want more Michael Keaton as Batman. Like, I think he's incredible. But the TV show, Kevin Conroy. I mean, the tone of that show. The only thing that this show is missing is to instead have episodic episodes where it's just like, you can just kind of watch them and there's no actual following story. That's the only thing that's missing. And it's kind of unfortunate too, because not only is it's just, one episode, or maybe they'll have a 2-parter, and then there's nothing else that really ties to any of the previous episodes. So there's no real continuity. But the other thing too is that they kind of went with they would have introductions of certain characters, but they would put them later on. They wouldn't have, like, if they could have at least gone in a chronological order. There are guides online to watch the TV show that way, but I have the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray obviously doesn't. It just goes, I think, with when they were actually released, like the dates that they were put on the TV. So that's kind of unfortunate. But in terms of Mark Hamill as the Joker, Kevin Conroy as Batman, like, who else? When you read comics and you hear the voices, which voices are you hearing? For me, it is Kevin Conroy as Batman and Hamill as the Joker is excellent. Is that the voice? I think that it depends on what I'm reading, because sometimes Joker is a little bit more, well, he was in the Arkham series. He's pretty, it's a lot more dark than the animated series, obviously. And Hamill did a good job in that too. But I think that I hear like a little bit of a different voice, but I do hear Hamill's as well when I am reading Batman. When I'm reading Spider-Man though, the 94 Spider-Man, that to me is the best version of Spider-Man that we've ever had, by far. Just had to go on that little rant because I absolutely love it, and I wish we could have finished it. I'm hoping that, then this one's just tearing up right now. I guess I got to do an overview for this pretty soon. I could tear it up right now. Why not? This looks really fun. Thor Volume 2 for the Jason Aaron run. That's, like, I know a bit, like, I've read a bit of the first volume. I really do enjoy it. But I always feel like I should be reading a lot more Thor beforehand, specifically what is the Thor that I'm thinking of? It's the one run with Beta Ray Bill and Frog Thor. The colors are off because they redid them. What is that omnibus? My mind is blanking. I know so many of you are screaming at me right now for what that's called. I'm gonna catch it right afterwards. You can leave it in the comments afterwards. But anyway, that is everything that I picked up in the months of September and October. We're definitely gonna have some overviews here soon. We're gonna have a Salem's Lot review for that book. We are going to have a what books I'm planning to read in the month of November, because I've started Billy Summers and I'm also reading Hemlock Island, and there's another few books as well. There's a Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring review that I'm going to be doing pretty soon, and something else that I'm going to be doing that has nothing to do with this channel. It's something else, but we are going to be talking about that hopefully in the next week, as things are definitely progressing in that, and it has to do with wrestling for those of you that are interested. So anyway, thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage.